for me, my whole life comes from fighting. And I think you said it, once you can look back at your life and you can look back at the positives and the things that you've done, you have more confidence, right? Because we've already overcome 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 problems or bad situations that you've then become better. Is like, I know I turned professional as a fighter, and 22 months later from turning pro, I fought in the UFC. Like, it was 22 months and it wasn't even 22 months, it was 18 months. So it took me 22 months from turning pro, but from my pro debut, because I had a 4-month training camp for that fight. It took me 18 months. I think you can look it up, because on Wikipedia it says like my pro debut to my UFC fight, and I think I did that, and I couldn't do the maths, so I typed the dates into ChatGPT, and it told me how much it was, because that's how the world's going. You don't have to think anymore. But it was about 18 months from me turning pro to fighting in the UFC, which is fine. I believe you can do in 3 years, is the time I gave myself. Anything you want in the world is possible in 3 years. And then I said that to my man. He said, bro, it's far too long. You can do anything in a year if you focus the energy and the time and you quantify. That's the word that I was trying to think of earlier. You quantify. You have quantifiables. If you quantify your effort into things, you can go from wherever you're at right now. If you quantify the effort that you put into the thing, and you put in more effort than other people, you can quantify that over a year. You're going to succeed at it as long as you continue to put the effort in. I know that I will overcome anything because I've already done it. That's how I look at it. Like, I went from sleeping on the floor to trying to run a clothing store. I used to have an air mattress, wasn't quite on the floor. I'm watching The Godfather on a laptop every night. So my friend Paul had a clothing store, and we were partners, and we used to sleep in the stock room on the floor because we were so broke that we couldn't afford a place to live, but we wanted to keep this shop open. It was during the recession back in the day. And we'd watch Godfather on a laptop every night. We'd wake up in the morning, go to the gym to shower and brush our teeth because we didn't have running water where we lived. And I would go to the shop every day and run the shop all day and try and make sales, whatever. Then after that, I would go to the gym. And I did that for maybe 8-10 months. And I've decided to go into fighting instead because this shop thing that I was doing was crazy, crazy hard. I probably should have gone into email marketing, but I didn't know it existed. And then I slept on the floor in the gym, and I just trained and trained and trained and trained. And then I got to the UFC, and then life got a bit easier. So I was like, from sleeping on the floor to fighting in UFC took me 3 years. I'm sure I can start. I've got the same mentality as you. Like, I'm not dumb. I know I make jokes about it. I'm sure I can start an email marketing company in 3 years and start making money. You know, you did it in 2 days. So maybe 3 years is too long. But I just mean for anyone watching and listening to your story and every story that they have on this podcast, because I try and bring on, you know, people that excel and are doing well. You put it best where it's not special people that make all these big sums of money. I think you put that limiting belief on yourself where you believe that you have to be special to make millions of dollars. The more people I see that I know are making those sort of sums of money, which is the kind of same thing you said, now with being part of the war room and all the guys I interact with and all these, you know, very, very wealthy guys, I'm like, there's nothing special about you. You just found the right thing and you ran with it. I'm sure I can find the right thing and I can run with it. That was my mentality 3 years ago when I joined, and I keep going and going and going and going. And I think for anyone listening, they should believe, like, it's very hard to understand the idea of making $100,000 a month. Like, if you make $3,000 a month, that amount of money just sounds like fantasy. But then when you meet 400 or 500 people that are all doing it, and you realize they are nothing more special than you are, no one's more special than you are, then you just kind of have that more belief. You know, you identify the problem with it, and then you can attack it. And I think for people listening, they should really somehow, like, again, being a bouncer is how you got your first feeling of it, because you saw those guys drinking bottles or whatever. I think that's identifying the people that are making that money and like studying them or talking to them or getting involved with them is a bit of a life hack. I don't know if you have any advice on how to do that.
Well, find a rich idiot you think they're smarter, and then just basically tell like, if he can make it, you can make it.
Yeah, I think it exactly, and that's what I used to think in fighting. So that's where my mentality come from fighting. I'm sort of what I was trying to get to. I kind of went around the way with it, but I would be like, again, because I'm an egomaniac or something like that, but I could beat this guy up.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, you know? And then you'd go to the gym and you would get murdered. This is what happened to me. I'd be like, okay, but if I train really, really hard, I'll be able to beat this guy up. Then I would train really, really hard. and I could beat him up. So it's like the same with money. It's like, I'm broke, you got money, I bet I can make more money than you. Train really, really hard and you make more money. It's just the quantifiables. I think that's a very, very interesting mentality to have, to understand. Again, break down your day into the amount of hours that you're spending on creating new skills. And what I find with a lot of people is they don't even really know what money is. You know, like they don't understand how money works, what people spend it on. They go to shops and they're just consumers. I think the difference between being a creator and being a consumer is you have to put yourself in the creator bracket. And I'm not talking about content and all that sort of stuff. I'm talking about business. I'm talking about livelihood. I'm talking about making things. It's like that's like an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is always in the creator bracket. He's always trying to think of how he can put himself in between the money. To make more money. I'm doing it at the moment. We were talking about it earlier with flights and all this other stuff. But yeah, I've been going on a bit of a rambling now.